Hey folks, today we're going to be taking a look at my G1 Optimus Prime ceramic coffee mug. Be sure to like my video, leave me a comment, and most importantly, subscribe for more. Hey folks, Em here from Transformers and Video Games, and welcome back to the channel. Before we take a look at the mug itself, as always, I thought we'd start off by taking a quick look at the box that it came in. You can see here there's a nice picture of the mug on the front. In the background, there's some very cool artwork, which we'll take a closer look at in a minute. Along the right side of the box, it's got the Transformers Generations logo, and along the bottom it says Optimus Prime, sculpted ceramic mug, 20 ounces or 591 milliliters. Now we'll take a look at the side of the box, where we get to see an unobstructed view of the artwork from the front side of the box. And if I'm not mistaken, this is kind of a stylized version of G1 Optimus Prime. It's very detailed, and I've got to say they've done a fantastic job with it. Anyways, there isn't much else happening on the other sides of the box, so without further delay, let's take a look at the coffee mug itself. Okay, so now that we have the mug out of its box and in hand, I thought this would be a good opportunity now to take a look at the underside where they've got the manufacturer's information. I'm not going to read it out to you, so this is probably a good opportunity to pause the video if you're interested in reading it. One thing that I will point out that I found kind of amusing is they felt the need to point out that this is not a toy, just in case there was any doubt. Now, I will say that the mug has a really nice weight to it. It feels robust and substantial in hand, and I really think it should. This isn't some cheap dollar store mug. I didn't mention the price yet, so now is probably as good a time as any to mention it. But my wife bought this for me when we were in Niagara-on-the-Lake celebrating our anniversary. Niagara-on-the-Lake is a nice place to visit. It is a bit of a tourist trap when it comes to the cost of things in some of the stores that they have there. So she paid $25 Canadian for this. I quite honestly think that maybe $15 Canadian would have been a better price for it, but that's just sort of how it goes with pricing in Niagara-on-the-Lake. I'm sure it can be found cheaper elsewhere. Moving along to some of the sculpted details, I've got to say they've done a really nice job with it. You can see right here on the side of the helmet around the ear area. Even up here, there's a couple of little bits of detail on the side antenna. On the front portion, you can see on the left and right side of the faceplate, there's some molded details. Of course, right up here on the top here in the forehead section of the helmet. There is a little sort of panel line detail along the handle here on the front and back. And speaking of the back of the mug, there's all this molded detail here again, which is like panel lines and that sort of thing. But I've got to say, all of the molded detail really does add to the realism of the of the Optimus Prime head. I really think that they've done a nice job with it. Now we'll move along to paint applications, and this is quite honestly where I think this mug suffers the most, or at least my specimen does. I'm going to start off here by showing sections that could have benefited from more paint used, and then I'm going to show you some sections where I don't think they did a very good job painting it in the first place. So starting off here, we've got by my thumb, you can see a section that just didn't receive anywhere near enough paint. Up here, you've got some visible brush strokes as well. Could have used more paint. Over here by my left thumb is another section. And right here on his eye, the bottom portion here, you would have thought, especially for the eyes, they would have taken a little bit more care, but they didn't. Around the edge of, the center of the handle here on the front and the back, they could have done at least one more coat there. It looks very, very thin. And on the back of the helmet, overall it's not bad, but you can see some sections here by my thumb, up here, and along the back of the antenna that could have benefited from more paint. When it comes to sloppy paint, right here under his brow ridge by my thumb, you can see that they didn't do a very straight line there, which is unfortunate. And I think the part where it's most evident is right here in the forehead section. Number of problems going on there. They didn't use enough paint. They did kind of a sloppy job. And quite honestly, when it comes to this section here and his eyes, those are pretty prominent portions of the mug that I really think that they should have taken more care and spent more time doing. So again, if I'm being honest, I think that the molded detail is excellent on this, but quite honestly, the paint applications are lacking overall. Well, having said all that, would I recommend buying one of these Optimus Prime mugs? Let's put it this way. I think $25 Canadian is too much to spend on this sort of thing. If it was $15, maybe $20 tops, and that's coming from a collector, I think that would have been a lot more reasonable. Having said that, I do think they've done a very nice job with it. I think it's a beautiful head sculpt, and it's quite honestly something that I'm glad my wife bought for me. It's a really neat thing to have in my collection. I don't think I'm actually going to use this for drinking coffee. One thing I will point out is that I'm right-handed, so for me it's obviously no problem to fill up my coffee cup and drink it like this. If you're left-handed, you're obviously going to have a bigger problem if you're tipping this up like that. This piece here is going to get in the way. So I don't know if that's a consideration for most people or for many people. Quite honestly, I'm pretty sure it's easy enough to just switch hands like that. But again, just something to think about. So again, for the money, I do think that it should have been cheaper, but I think for the collectors out there, it is a nice thing to have. For me, I'm going to put this up on my shelf where I think it's going to look really nice. And apparently they're coming out with a Bumblebee. And I can't remember if the guy said that they might be coming out with a Megatron as well, but I think those would be two other cool additions to add to the collection if I can find them for the right price. Anyways, everybody, thanks a lot for watching. I appreciate your support, and be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share my video. Take care.